How's it going, everyone? I know it's been a while since we got to work on Time Soldiers, but I finally got a little bit of time. I've been kind of working on it a little bit here and there, just doing a few things that, it's not real interesting. I thought maybe fixing the board set was going to be more interesting, but it wasn't. You can see how nice our picture is now. What I did was, all I did was recap, put new caps on our board set, and we got all of our color come in. But let's start at the beginning. Since it's been so long since I've posted a video on Time Soldiers, we started out, we had the cabinet in here. We plugged it in, and our monitor was bad. We had a Matschitze, one of them Schitze monitors in it. So the first thing we did was we converted it to an LCD with our little conversion board here. We mounted it there. We checked our board set then after we got it working, but our colors were all washed out. Ooh, is it getting ugly looking outside? It's only 7 o'clock. So I pulled the board, recapped it, and we got our colors. All of our colors are back. We had this funky little squiggly line up through here that was kind of like it was out of sync or something on the side. And I thought, okay, well, maybe that's our board set. Well, I tested some other boards on this monitor, and it was the same thing. So I kind of determined that it was that we had a bad monitor that I put in it. Well, I was back here putting the board set back in and just checking out a few things, and I had a loose connection, and I think I had something was touching here. When I moved everything away and tightened up my connection, we lost the line. So now this monitor is okay. So I adjusted the colors on it and all that and got it all nice. I showed you the new marquee that's going in. Then on the next episode we went ahead and got the monitor put in. We cut a nice little piece of Luan and covered up our little bit of a border that we were going to have around it. Painted that black, cut down our basil, cardboard basil, got it cut down to where it looks good. I cut a little bit off the bottom and a little bit off the top, and there's the rain. I better go shut the hatch on my van. Oh, got a cat in there hiding. You can see I'm all loaded up to go down to the market tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. But I got so much crap to get out. I'm going down. I got a lot of work to do down there. My wife will man the store, and I'll go down below and do some work and get her space ready. But anyway, we cut it down. I cut a little bit off the bottom and a little bit off the top. I lost the soldiers' heads and most of the caveman's heads up top there too. But that's just the way it's going to have to be. You don't know it unless I point it out. Somebody else just walking up to this machine to play it, or if I don't tell anybody, they wouldn't even know that we lost them. Wasn't happy about it, but it was better to do that than to try and adjust everything to keep their heads and cut everything off the bottom. The monitor wouldn't have come down far enough, and it would have looked like hell. So that's the way we did that, which I think turned out good. Now we have a little metal plate here that fits and holds our glass down, and our two that hold our marquee in place. As you can see, I sanded them down, painted them a nice satin black with a clear coat over it so it'll hold up. And now that's the way that's going to look. And let's get one of these. And you can see we'll hide all that crap up there, and that'll look nice. But anyway, the glass, there's a glass piece that goes up here. If you don't remember, it's sitting right there. We have to put the new. We have our new control panel overlay. That's what I got it unhooked and opened up to see what we got to do to get the control panel off so we can start working on getting the overlay put on it. I'm going to have to cheat a little bit because I don't know if that overlay is going to be long enough to cover this glass. I got to cover that little piece of glass. That one right there. Plus the control panel, the face. Underneath, I'm really not too worried about. You know, if we have to fudge a little bit and make it a little scarier on the bottom, we'll do that. Now, shoot. There's one of my kitties. No, the other one's still camped out in the van. And when holy shit. So after doing the board set, getting the caps changed on it, and I pulled every chip out, cleaned all the legs on all of our chips. If you remember, after this was on for a while, we'd start losing our screen. It would start scrambling and getting all funky. And then it would come back on for a little bit and it'd go off, and then it would just scramble all the time. Well, after I cleaned all the chips and recapped the board, fixed our loose connection here and fixed that, I've run this thing for 4 to 6 hours just sitting like this. As you can see, all of our colors are back in. We've got all of our colors. I adjusted them a little bit, gave us a little more red, so our red would show up just a little bit better. But anyway, I did notice when I had the board set laying here and I was working on it that it would get awful hot. There's a few areas on that board that would really, really get hot. And my thinking was that I will mount a fan right there. That's just an old power supply. Took the fan out of a power supply, left it on the bracket and cut one leg off of it, mounted it up there, and then what I'll do is I'll tie it right into our power supply, and that'll be blowing right directly over the board, and it'll keep it a little cooler. Back in '87, I don't know how much they figured in that heat destroys boards and chips, because the only heat sink is on the amplifier, and that sucker, it gets hot. But there's a couple of chips. Our Z80 gets a little warm. Yeah, the Z80 gets pretty warm, and that one does. And the main chip here, I don't know what this main chip does. Like I said, I'm not tech savvy when it comes to a lot of these chips. I do know the Z80 is our CPU. All the numbered chips are our game chips. Let's see, and one of them, that might be the RAM. Let me move you down. That might be the RAM. I don't know, or the RAM's mounted. That could be the RAM back there. Anyway, that's beside the point. Anyway, that board gets awful hot. And you put a door on it, even with just a little vent, it's going to be even hotter in that cabinet. So I figure we'll mount a fan and we can circulate some air inside, keep that board a little cooler, and maybe it'll last a little longer. So like I said, in '87, I'm not sure how much they realized that heat destroys those chips. You know, they had heat sinks on everything, on processors and stuff like that, but I don't know about these guys. Who knows? Like I said, they knew the amplifier gets hot, so they put a heat sink on it, a small one. Could use a bigger one to dissipate a little bit more heat off of the amplifier, but there should have been some heat sinks on these chips, or at least something to keep them a little cooler. But now we're up to speed, and in this episode we're going to start working on our overlay on our control panel. First thing we're going to do is we're going to clean out the penthouse. We had some vermin squatters up in the penthouse, so we're going to have to get up there and clean out the penthouse and see if what kind of condition our light's in. The bulb's sitting right there, but I want to check the condition of this and make sure it is okay. It looks a little rusty, but it looks like we'll be okay. But we need to get that cleaned out. Then we need to get our control panel off of here and get it stripped down so we can start looking at how we're going to do our overlay, our control panel overlay, so we can cover that piece of glass, which is the back piece here, and the control panel, and make sure that we are going to have enough to go all the way down and underneath. Like I said, when they did this one, they didn't go all the way down. You can see there's a gap, so I'm figuring that's what they ended up doing, the same thing. So let's get started, and first I'm going to clean out the penthouse, and then we'll get the control panel off of this and start looking at what we got to do to get the overlay put on it and changed out. Every time you have squatters, this is what happens. They're always destroying your shit. So now we're going to have to take that fixture down out of there so we can see if we can't rewire it or if we have to get a new fixture. If I'm not mistaken, this wasn't working. So that might be a reason why it wasn't working. But we'll get her taken out of there and see what we got to do to rewire it from the squatters. Okay, on this fixture, these sockets just clip in. And two little tabs here and here, and they just clip in here. And all I'm going to do is repair the wires. I'm going to solder some new wires on it. We had 3 of them that were bad, 1 good one. Imagine that. And we'll reuse this bracket and the sockets. I'll fix them. I know everybody says, well, why don't you just buy a new fixture and put it in? Well, I kind of like fixing crap. So this gives me an opportunity to fix some crap. So I'm going to reuse it if it's good. You know, like I said, we'll put the new wires on it and we'll put it back up in there and put the light bulb in it and see if it lights up. If it does, good. If not, then we'll start looking at maybe buying a new fixture. Nobody sees this. just has a light bulb in it that shines light through the marquee, so nobody can see that it's the old one. You used the old one. So before anybody says that I should have just bought a new fixture, I'm going to fix this one. Got her all cleaned out. Repaired the sockets on both sides. Washed the light bulb. I see we got a little dark spots on either end, so if it works, we'll probably have to get a new light bulb for in there, which is no big deal. So let's turn it on and see what happens. There you are. Let me see, where's the old... There's the old marquee. Old nasty, dirty thing. Yeah, I think the new marquee's gonna look good. Yeah, that's one thing off the list. Next, we'll work on that control panel. Let's do the overlay on it, and we'll get the marquee cut down, and we'll get that put in as well. Still got some work to do on the cabinet. We'll see how far I get along and how long this video is going to be before I start working on the cabinet. That might be the last episode of working on the cabinet, getting the bottom all squared away and a new door made and bottom piece made for the back. So it's about time for me to go in. Oh, and then I'll pick this up tomorrow night. For you, it'll only be a couple of seconds, if that, and then we'll get started on that control panel. Now with the control panel off, I kind of noticed a few things on this. For starters, we got two different types of switches. We have leaf switches for our players, 1 or 2, and they soldered on the connections for the reds instead of putting the push-on terminals on. And you can see this won't be bad then. We have red switch for red, white switch for white. Now on the number 1 player, you have this little I don't know what you want to call it. It kind of holds everything in place because there's a pin right back there that's supposed to hold this so it doesn't turn. See, just like this one. You have that little pin back there so it, because on these joysticks, you have to be able to turn them, and that's what turns your gun on your guy. You know, as you turn this, the gun turns and shoots. So these have to turn. Now the number 2 player, the number 1 player, you know, we'll get it fixed up. I'm not sure if we turn this around then if everything's going to be all screwed up or not. Hopefully not. But we got to get everything out of here so we can get the overlay off of this so we can put on the new one. Get it cleaned up and get the new one on. So that consists of taking all of our buttons out and our joysticks. Not going to be too bad. I thought we were going to have to tear them apart from the back side, but you can see somebody's already been gnawing on that one. Pull the centers out and we have a nut in there. Take the nut off, this will come off, and then the joystick will go down through. So let me get started and I'll get this all tore apart and get ready to start pulling the overlay off. I do believe there's something under it. It's going to be kind of interesting because you can see around this red button you can see some blue. So let's find out what's under it. Something else interesting. See, there's a Phillips head screw that holds our micro switch in on the white ones. But not. The red ones are our traditional clip-ins. That's kind of neat. We got 3 different switches in this and 1 joystick that's backwards. So let's have some fun and get this tore apart. Should be all we should have to do is take that screw out and our micro switch should pull up out of there. Let me get you set up in the tripod and we'll take one apart. Alright, so let's get this little screw out of here. I can stay out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Ah, there we go. Should be able to just pull this screw. And yeah, if you can get a hold of it. There we go. And here's our little micro switch. Still sounds pretty good. Like I said, they soldered it on the top, so that really kind of makes it tough if you want to change out a switch. On out of there. You should be able to just screw these. Take them and we'll wash them all up. There's nothing wrong with them. Besides being dirty, they work. Oh! Come on. There we go. I probably have some new buttons, but I'm not going to put new ones on it. Let me get you over there. Let's see if we can, oops, wrong one. Let's see if we can get this guy out of here without, oh, breaking him. Come on, come on. You can hear it cracking. The Kraken. Oh my God, it's the Kraken. Come on. Oh. Not gonna have very good luck, I don't think, with this one. I don't even know if I can get new ones. Come on. Damn it. two little clips. And they should be on either side. There should be one here and one here on that side. So let's see if we can... Nope. Dang, plastic is so brittle. Ah. Now it looks like we're going to have to find some new caps. That'll be fun, huh? Yeah, well. Shit happens. You didn't think it was going to be that easy, did you? Nope, can't even get my socket in there. Okay. 10 millimeter. Okay. You pull that knob off. This just is a pressure when the joystick top goes down on, you screw it down, it will when you tighten it up, what it does is it crimps down onto this part here. Now let's take the other one apart and see if it's going to be the same. Yep, same thing. Boy, our springs sure ugly. That second one is put together a lot different. I'm gonna have to get let's get those out of there and see what the hell we have as far as joysticks. Alright, got the joysticks out and our control panel here. Okay, just want to talk a little bit about these joysticks. There's two different joysticks in here, two different styles. You can see this style has the plastic, whatever you want to call it, switch. That's what actually hits your switches. This one has been changed. This is a newer style here. This is the older style. As you can see, I marked them player 1 and player 2 so I'd know where to hell, just because I know how I am. This one has the small plastic sleeve in the bottom. That's what actually hits your switches when you move your joystick around. And these have the switch in the bottom here is your rotary switch. These are, I don't know if you call them 8 position or whatever. These are rotary joysticks. Okay, I didn't think anything of it. There was no big deal. I figured, okay, yeah, they're old, 87, should be able to pick up a pair, or, you know, pick up one fairly cheap so we could, you know, maybe rebuild the number 1, because it's a little goofy. Like I said, it was put together backwards. This was in the front instead of on that retainer pin. Well, I got to looking around, and you know, I couldn't find any. So okay, well, you know, no real big deal. I can wait. You know, we can work with what we have until I can find some to rebuild the number 1. Well, I was scanning around in one of the forums. What is it? Arcade Museum, I think, is the one I was in. And they were talking about these joysticks, and a pair of them sold last August on eBay for over $1,000. And I'm kind of wondering, okay, are these that hard to find, or you know, or are they, you know, that desirable? Well, needless to say, I am not putting that kind of money into rotary joysticks. But I still don't, this is what's really weird here. Well, I don't know if it's really weird, but this one was, whoops, now it's junk. No, this one was in the bottom of the cabinet in that little box, if you remember. That was quite a while ago. Over a month, I think, is when I posted that one. But this one was in the bottom of the cabinet. It's not in that bad a condition, really. But you can see this one has been used and used, because that pin, take that out of there, is all wore out. So now what I'm thinking is, this was the number 1 and that was number 2, because number 2 doesn't get played as much. But why would you put a new one in and put it in number 2 and not in number 1, and leave the half used, you know, the one that's been used here in number 2? Why would you go through the trouble to switch everything over and put number 2 here and the new one in number 2? Don't get it. I know number 1, all the pins are busted off of it, as you can see. So I know the rotary switch is doo-doo. But this is kind of a dilemma. You know, we can still rebuild these. These are just the regular leaf micro switches. We can change them out and put new ones in them. But why wouldn't we put the new one, the new style. I'm going to say new style because this one is built a lot better, or is it just made by somebody else? Let me see. Okay, that's the rotary switch that came out. No, SNK. It's still an SNK. So this is what we're going to have to figure out then. This will probably be another video trying to figure out what... We're going to have to use these ones, plain and simple. We're going to have to figure out what to do about this. Oh, there's a spring. Aha. See, that goes down on top of there, like so. And then there's a big spring that is laying here, or I threw it on the floor already. Nope, there it is. We have this beat up spring that we need to fix. So that's going to be another project to get those to where they're reliable and not... That's going to hang up, and the way they had that one, when you twisted it, it didn't work right. I mean, it worked all right on screen, but there was just so much play in it that, because it wasn't backed up on that pin, so it was over here and it would just kind of would move back and forth. Hope I'm explaining that good. If not, everybody will get over it. But anyway, so now we have a decent cap. Two of them were broke. So we're going to have to figure out something to put in these. If I can figure out something, we'll leave that out. We'll save that one, and we'll just put two plugs in. Maybe some black plastic. Maybe we can fit down in there real nice and make it look nice. We'll see what we have to do, because I am not putting $1,000 into joysticks. Okay, so let me get this crap off, and we'll get this overlay off of here, and we'll see what we have. Okay, now these were put on. Probably came with the kit. And we are going to save those. Hey, tell Dickie. Alright, got the overlay off of it, and the glass, got the glass all cleaned up. That's the piece, if you don't know, that's going to go right in there with some of the control panel overlay. Hopefully we have enough to go all the way down and around. I'm not going to peel this black off because I like to leave it, because it looks like we're going to come all the way down a little bit, and you're not going to see it under there anyway, unless you stand on your head or you're sitting on the floor trying to play. But anyway, you can see this control panel has been repurposed maybe 2 times, maybe 3. Here's where our joystick goes here and here, and the original joystick was here. These 2 holes were cut in, and so was that one and that one for the joystick, and these 2 were cut in. The original was here, and then you had 2 here and 2 up here. Now looking at this, I'm debating whether to put our, there's two little dinky holes there, put our player 1 button up here and our player 2 button up here and get everything on top, because that would leave, okay, our joystick would be over here, we can play our joystick, player 1 would be there, our fire and our hyper is here and here, same here. I think that may be what we do, instead of putting them back down there. I mean, it doesn't really matter, I guess. Holes are drilled for it, so we could just go ahead and put them back in there, but then you got to put, I have labels, we can label them 1 and 2, or I don't know, I still kind of like everything being on top, where we have our player 1 or player 2 right next to our joystick, and player 1 right up here by our joystick. It may just be a pain in the ass underneath with those leaf switches. Tell me what you think, because I'm going to end this video here. It's been long enough. I didn't get as much done as I would have liked to have in this video, in this episode, but I have more time now, so the episodes are going to be coming a little quicker than what they have been. We're going to get our, in the next episode, we'll get our overlay on, or get our mess put back in it. Figure out our joystick. We'll see what we can come up with on it. Like I said, they work, but I'm not real thrilled with that one. And we'll get our marquee cut, and after we get all that done, then we'll work on the cabinet. Got a few places that we're going to dress up on the cabinet. We're going to put new T-molding on it, and we're going to dress it out and get it looking really nice. So stay tuned to the next episode, and we'll start getting our overlay put on and that, and we'll start working on some other things. So until next time, see ya.